Good day, dear listener, and welcome aboard the Ozma. We have an exciting show planned for you, but before we get too far, a word to the wise. Though Project Ozma is considered to be a comedy, the humor involved is known to contain swearing, allusions to sexual themes, as well as themes of minor violence. A more in-depth description of this content as well as the transcript can be found in the description. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy today's episode.
So where were we? Oh yeah, I was about to single-handedly destroy this entire mission, meaning that Earth could wave bye-bye to its independence and it'd be all my... Not that anyone said anything, but ever since my short, totally accidental, and not at all my fault engagement to Mieli, well, Gwen and I have been getting some weird looks from some of the other rulers up here on the Ozma. Not that I'm an expert at reading alien expressions or anything, but you should have seen the way people were acting at the luncheon yesterday. Which is so unfair. I mean, it's not like the whole proposing business was intentional, but instead of dismissing it like the hilarious misunderstanding all of this is, the other rulers seem to see me as some kind of player or something. And then there's the fact that I'm married to my guard, which doesn't exactly seem to be common practice around here. Married to Quinny? Could you imagine? She's my best friend and I love her, but if that were actually true, we'd probably end up getting a divorce in like 2 hours. She would never be able to handle all of this womanliness. Anyways, I've tried to go back and clear things up with Mieli. Against Quinn's better judgment, of course, but I managed to convince her to let me try, which turned out to be a huge mistake, naturally. Mieli wouldn't hear a word of it. And to top it all off, I think she's the one who's been spreading all those nasty rumors about me. Maybe if she didn't jump the gun on our marriage, she would have realized how wrong she was. Not that Mieli's admitted to any of this, of course, but, I mean, come on. Who else would have had any reason to do it? But the only thing I can do right now is damage control. I finally cracked that dumb book from Reed, and for the past 2 days, I have done nothing but read. Nothing. Nada. Not explored the Ozma, not tried to charm any of the other rulers, not even scoped out any more alien hotties, which might have been for the best, actually, given the living, breathing STD thing. Anyway, point is, I had the entire book memorized back to front. I'm practically a mini Niihawk by now. Or larger? Would it still be mini if you actually managed to be taller than the alien in question? Anyway, fun bit of trivia for those back home. It was the dip that was the proposal. Or, as I like to think of it... Nothing. That's the joke. Get it? I don't like to think of it. Because, well, I really messed up. I swear to God, the one time I actually managed to be suave. Ugh. Anyway, moving on. Another fun thing I learned was that giving the OK sign was another big no-no. Apparently it means something like, fuck your mother to Niihawk's people. Glad I found that one out before I had to have a very awkward conversation with the one person aboard this station who doesn't seem to actively dislike me. So, to sum it all up, here I am now, just wandering the Ozma, and just trying to stay away from, well, everyone. Quinn still hasn't forgiven me for my little mishap, and her confidential updates to Reed are starting to take up most of the day. But hey, knowing that I've probably made Reed's life quite a bit harder might just be the silver lining this entire situation needed. Still, though, it kinda hurts that Quinn isn't telling me more. It's like she put up this weird block between us, almost as if she just can't tell me. It might just be some remnant of her government training where if she shares too much, she'll have to put her in the brain room, Men in Black style. But it kind of feels like it's something deeper. Something else that happened to her that she hasn't... I'm trying my very best not to be bitter about it, which is very hard because I happen to be an incredibly bitter person. Besides, I'm part of this mission too, after all. If I'm the one playing the part, I should at least get to read the whole script, right? But for now, I'd settle for a nice quiet place to sit while I reread this dumb book. Again. Whatever it takes not to fuck up again. But since Quinn's kicked me out of our room for her briefing, again, I'll just have to settle for this... Oh, I haven't been in this room before. Well, so much for peace and quiet. And I know that this new, reformed, non-mistake-making Percy probably should have turned on her heel and marched right out of there. But I was curious, all right? So I snuck over to where I'd heard the sounds coming from and found... AI? It looked like they were tending to the service spots, but a little differently than what I'd seen before. AI was cradling their current bot almost tenderly.
There. I know this is all a little much for you. So many commands for one little bot to handle. There. You should be functioning fine now.
I took a step forward to get a better view and, well, just my luck, somehow managed to step right on some kind of discarded wrapper.
Oh, Queen Persephone. I did not see you there. Are you lost? In need of assistance, perhaps?
No, I'm good.
Well, Queen Persephone, I think that in this case, you should seek out some other company. There's nothing exciting happening here. Just some malfunctioning service bots that
Percy is fine, but not to be rude, but would you mind explaining what you're doing? I'm very interested in robotics. You see, it's something we're only beginning to develop back on my planet, so...
Oh, I suppose it couldn't... These bots are only meant to tackle a few commands at once. When they receive more than that, their programming begins to conflict with previous orders, and they are caught up in a loop of processing. They get overloaded, so to speak.
Meaning
that nothing gets accomplished until someone resets them.
And I'm guessing that someone is you.
Most often, yes.
Seems kind of dumb that they'd only be able to take a few commands. They're serving bots after all, right?
With all due respect, the orders they tend to receive during this conference can be somewhat unorthodox.
Oh? Like what?
If they were asked to retrieve your cloak, they could do that. If they were asked to fetch you a cup of coffee, they could do that. But once it begins to run smoothly and do what it is requested, many of the rulers unintentionally push the limits. They'll ask for back massages, or message delivery, and clothing cleaning, and the like, and they do not wait for a command to be completed before asking for another. And once the commands begin stacking up, it's only a matter of time until...
So basically, spoiled rich kids suck.
Well, I wouldn't say...
No, you wouldn't, but you know it's true. So anyway, how do you fix it?
The easiest way is to cancel the previous command. Would you maybe like to assist me?
Yeah, totally. What can I do?
Oh, hold this one steady so I can access its inner screen.
Sure thing. Whoa, weird. Do all robots have that? Do you have that?
Yes, we do. Robots from other planets are made differently, though. It depends on the creator.
Neat. So what do you do now that you've got its chest open?
I merely have to type in this code, 226345, and that will delete the last command asked of it.
Not that I doubt your methods, but this little guy is still freaking out.
Yes, Too many commands. I just have to continue to delete commands until it can function again.
How bad is this guy?
Overloaded by about 50. Not as bad as some of the previous ones have been.
So, you mentioned your planet?
Yes, I was created on the planet Nicorec, under the rule of Vyza. Nicorec is very well known for its advances in machinery technology. I've never seen it myself, though.
Wait, I thought you said you were built there.
All of my parts and pieces that create myself were fabricated on Nicorec. However, as an entity, I was assembled and powered on here at the Ozma.
So, this is all you've ever known?
In a sense, yes.
Doesn't it get boring? I mean, the Ozma conference only comes around once a year, doesn't it?
Once everyone leaves, the service bots and I clean everything. Then when everything is back in tip-top shape, we return to our stations and power down until next year.
Oh, so like a weird hibernation. Do you automatically power on?
No, I do not have those capabilities.
So then how does this work? How are you powered up?
I assume that someone comes a few weeks ahead of time and gives us required maintenance and upgrades, as well as turning us on a few days before the meeting.
Someone? So you're not even sure who comes and tinkers with you?
I like to think that it's my creator. They would certainly know how to do it correctly. Not that I know. There was one time when I tried to stay away from my power station for as long as I could after the conference, and I was hopeful that if it was alarming that I'd not return to my charge, then my creator, then they would come and check on me, and I would get to meet them. But it was too draining. I couldn't do it. Not for that long.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, I don't, but I know what it's like to be lonely. It must be hard being the only sentient.
What?
Oh, is that the wrong word? Sorry if I offended you. I only meant...
Oh, no. Queen Persephone, I was simply astonished that you could jump to such a conclusion. But you are a new ruler after all, and so it is not so strange that you might get some strange ideas and...
Hey, what's wrong? Why are you talking like that again? I thought we were just having a nice conversation.
I believe that this serving bot is in regular working order now. Your assistance will no longer be necessary. I apologize for distracting from your royal...
No, hold on, stop. Why are you acting all... Oh. I'm not supposed to know that you're, you know...
I believe sentient was the word you used.
But why would that be such a big deal? Isn't this you having feelings and all that? Isn't that the ultimate goal of artificial intelligence? Like, to literally mimic humanity or whatever species you're going for?
This might be difficult for you to understand, Persephone. You're a new ruler, and you're much more compassionate than most others I've met. Maybe you haven't heard your peers talking about beings like me, but I have. And if you ask them, they will gladly tell you of how they have eliminated any robots on their planet that grew too similar to them for comfort.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. But their fears aren't entirely without reason. Robots like myself, we aren't treated very humanely in all corners of the galaxy. And if we were to rise up against our so-called masters, and not as slaves but as equals, there would be...
a revolution.
Exactly.
So instead of, not being assholes to the robots, most rulers just squash those who can think for themselves.
Yes. Or, well, not all of them. Times are changing. Slowly, but it is happening. None of my masters have ever been anything but polite and respectful towards me, but seeing how some of the rulers aboard this station treat bots, I don't think I'm ready to announce my sentience to the world quite yet. And would you look at that? This little serving bot's used up all of its power just trying to make sense of its commands it was given. I'll have to charge it before I can try to sort the rest of this out.
Is it going to be okay?
In time, yes.
Are you?
I hope so. But I would appreciate it if you wouldn't...
Run around spilling your secrets to everyone on the Ozma? Gotcha. You can count on me, pal.
Thank you, Persephone.
Okay, come on. I know you better than anyone on the station. You gotta drop the full name thing.
Okay, Percy.
There you go. Now, I should get back to reading this boring-ass manual before I accidentally propose to another...
Oh, yes, I heard about that. You know, if you're bored of the book, I might be able to help out. I do owe you one, after all.
And as tempted as I am to say not to mention it, I probably do need all the help I can get. So, partner, what did you have in mind?
Project Ozma is a Goose Thunder Network-produced podcast. Today's episode, Repairs, was written by Megan and Ylva and edited by Molly Rae, with sound editing by Cole Burkhart. Music was composed and performed by Benny James. The voices you heard in today's episode in order of appearance were Allison as Percy and Benny James as AI. Want to continue to stay up to date on all things Ozma? Follow us on Tumblr at Project-Ozma, on Instagram at Project Ozma Podcast, or on Twitter at Project Ozma.